will have an opportunity to promote their goods and services on KBLA and take advantage of our powerful reach and local marketing power. The SMB Marketplace is hosted exclusively on KBLA1580.com and is accessible from all our social media channels. Whether you're a small mom and pop restaurant, a car dealership, or a professional practitioner, we invite you to join in this new KBLA Talk 1580 initiative to promote your business. As a Black-owned small business, you don't want to miss this unique opportunity to gain new customers on KBLA Talk 1580. For more information, contact us today at smb@kbla1580.com. That's smb@kbla1580.com. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
And if I share with you my story, would you share your shadow with me? Time to get paid.
It was 7:45, we were all in line to greet the teacher, Miss Kathleen. First was Kevin, then came Lucy, third in line was me. All of us were ordinary compared to Cynthia Rose. She always stood at the back of the line, a smile beneath her nose. Her favorite number was 20, and every single day, if you asked her what you had for breakfast, this is what she'd say: starfish and coffee, maple syrup and jam, butterscotch clouds and a tangerine, and side on a ham. If you set your mind free, baby, maybe you understand. Starfish and coffee, maple syrup and jam. Cynthia wore the prettiest dress, but different color socks. Sometimes I wonder if the mates were in her lunch.
KBLA Talk 1580. Why is Miles playing that? Because our next guest I believe she's the president of the Prince fan club. Maybe among the top 5 Prince fans in the world. She's also a professor, former chair of Pan-African Studies at Cal State LA. She's got a PhD and an MA from the USC in political science, a BA, and from Howard in African American Studies. She's the director of Black Lives Matter Grassroots. She's a mom, lead organizer for BLMLA. Dr. Melina Abdulla, good morning.
Oh, and I'm so happy this morning. Thank you, Miles. That's like the happiest Prince song in the world. That makes me so happy to hear that. Doesn't it just put a smile on your face?
It does.
Starfish and coffee. Yeah. Good morning, Sister Dominique.
Good morning. It's just, it's funny. I mean, this woman actually has a tattoo, the symbol. That is love for Prince.
It's my tattoo.
That's your only tattoo? I didn't know that. Wow.
That's only tattoo, and I got it for my 50th birthday.
Oh, I love that so much. And by the way, happy B-Day. Your birthday is tomorrow, but I don't think you're going to be on the air tomorrow. So let me publicly wish you a happy birthday today.
Thank you.
Virgo season. It's also my brother Rudy's birthday. So there's a lot going on right now. And let's start with where you're heading. I think you're going to court today for court support.
Yeah, I'm headed to the federal courthouse, downtown federal courthouse, in support of Albert Ramon Dorsey's family. People may remember that in 2018, Albert Ramon Dorsey was murdered inside the Hollywood 24-hour fitness. When employees called police on him, LAPD came in. He was fresh out the shower wearing nothing but a towel, clearly unarmed, and they shot and killed him right there in the 24-hour fitness dressing room. So we spent years protesting the 24-hour fitness in Hollywood. That was actually the second time they killed a black man who was a member of their club in the span of 2 years. The year before, they killed Dennis Todd Rogers at the club on Slauson. And so we demanded several things from 24-hour fitness, including not calling the police on their members when they posed no threat. And they refused to hear any of our demands. But we actually pushed them into bankruptcy and are saying that should be the stance that we take. We should be holding these corporations accountable that bring in police violence and steal the lives of our people. So this morning is the start of a civil trial, a 3-day civil trial against LAPD on behalf of the family of Albert Ramon Dorsey. And that's going to be every single day, today through Thursday at the downtown Federal Courthouse, 350 West 1st Street in courtroom 8D. And they're asking for everyone who can get there to get there. Black Lives Matter Los Angeles will host you for lunch if you come. Take an 8:30 to noon shift or 1 to 5 p.m. shift today, Wednesday, and Thursday. I plan to be there. Baba Keeley plans to be there. Sister Tabitha, Sister Sheila, we'll all be there, and we need as many people to fill that courtroom as possible.
And I remember when Albert Ramon Dorsey was murdered, there was like a gathering of Black supposed leaders. I say supposed because they called me in there, to buy Chief Moore to watch that tape, that edited tape, and then sort of talk about it. And to me, that was an indication that they knew that was way out of pocket. The fact that they called a special meeting. Yeah.
That's right. And they released the tape to you before they released the tape to the family. So they didn't give the same courtesy to Ramon's family that they gave to Black leaders. Of course, Black Lives Matter Los Angeles was not included in that leadership. And I think that was a deliberate effort to kind of get other Black leaders to oppose the work of Black Lives Matter Los Angeles, but it didn't work. We all kind of stood together and said, no, you can't shoot and kill an unarmed Black man in the dressing room of a 24-hour fitness and get away with it. And the body cam footage, which was released, shows that somehow, coincidentally, the body cams actually fell off.
Yeah,
both
I remember
of the
seeing that.
Who were in the dressing room before they killed them.
Conveniently, yeah. Well, I think that whole situation, but the people that were in the room at that time were mostly clergy, to be honest with you. Most of the people that were in there were church leaders. But anyway, I just remember how chilling it was watching that and how terrible it was. And why never any criminal charges around that, right?
No criminal charges, and there was an out-of-policy finding. So we remember criminal charges are extremely rare. They only happen nationally, maybe 5 or 6 times a year, and that's up from what it was. It used to be never, ever were police
right, and we're talking
charged.
about on average around 1,000 people being killed or something like that, right? So,
right. Well, last year it was 1,200, and that's only what we know. We know that's an undercount.
So that's like 3% of the time or something. That with my
right.
shaky math, about 3% of the time that people are really facing criminal accountability, which is insane.
That's right. And finding them guilty almost never happens. So they might even be charged but not be found guilty. And so that's very rare. The place that families get the most semblance of justice is through civil trials. And civil trials are also very difficult because police have something called qualified immunity, which is used to block civil charges, civil trials at every turn, before the case is filed, during the case, and even after the case. They invoke something called qualified immunity, which is why Black Lives Matter Grassroots is working with Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley to advance the Ending Qualified Immunity Act, remembering that police should be held more accountable, not less accountable.
Right. I know we got a lot to cover, but last time we talked about Representative Presley's bill, you are looking for more congresspersons to co-sponsor. Where is that effort?
So it's a multi-year bill. We're still looking for more co-sponsors for the bill. And if folks, I'll make sure that I update the post. If folks go to our Twitter or our X page, I guess is what you call it now, there is actually a tool where you can encourage your member of Congress to sign on to the Ending Qualified Immunity Act. And most of the members of Congress in Southern California are not signed on. So we want to encourage Sidney Kamlager to sign on. We want to encourage all of the members of Congress to sign on to the Ending Qualified Immunity Act.
Okay. And while you're there, you might as well follow BLM Grassroots on Twitter, on Instagram. You're still in the quest to get back the platforms, get your stuff back, right? The platforms, the money, the good name of Black Lives Matter.
That's right. And we know that the thieves who stole our money, our platforms, and our good name continue to demonstrate who they are, right? So if you go to their page, they're not doing activism. They're not supporting families. What they're doing is kind of this corporatized version of Black joy is what they're advancing now. They're saying they don't want to be bogged down by Black death.
Black joy, i.e. hedonism.
Right.
I mean, I'm not against Black joy, don't get me wrong, but I have plenty of Black joy in my life, and I've never been to Martha's Vineyard or InvestorCom or whatever that. I mean, they're basically out there like promoting, like,
Invest Fest, where they're having
Invest Fest,
right, spending tens of thousands of dollars to not mobilize people to do work, but to, really spend and become part of the capitalist class. And we know they're part of the capitalist class. The 990s, which is kind of the federal reporting that's required. Unfortunately, media hasn't been paying attention as they did in 2020, but the 990s for 2023 reveal that the evil mastermind who engineered the entire thing, whose name is Shalomia Bowers, he's, I kid you not, a Black Zionist, paid himself in 2023 upwards of $5 million. We were outraged in 2020 when he paid himself $2.2 million. But in 2023, he paid himself upwards of $5 million. We know that the chair of their board, Cecily Gay, has also been highly paid to the point that she now lives in what some people are calling a McMansion in a really affluent suburb of Atlanta called Alpharetta, Georgia. And we know that none of them have other jobs, including Dejanay Parker. We don't know how she's making her money, but we assume that it's off of the backs, off of the blood, off of the spilled blood of people like Albert Ramon Dorsey and off of the sweat of real organizers like Baba Akili and others.
Yeah, it's just disgusting to me to see who folks who appear to be sort of centrist Democratic Party ops trying to turn Black Lives Matter into a country club. It's a cruel joke, taking the people's money and with the occasional camouflaging action that momentarily makes them seem like they're actually Black Lives Matter. But in any case, if you want what you think of as Black Lives Matter, you want to follow BLM Grassroots on Twitter, on Instagram, visit the website and such. We're talking with Dr. Melina Abdulla. We do have a lot to cover right now. Today is the anniversary of the death of Mitrice Richardson. Is that right? It's her anniversary, I believe, angel-versary. And I want to talk about that. Speaking of Black lives that we will never, ever forget. And we've got more to cover as well. You're welcome to get into the conversation. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward. Tabitha Smiley's new book, The Covenant with Black America, 20 years later, is now on sale everywhere. This classic text shot to #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list almost 2 decades ago. If you have the original book, you will surely want to get this 20th anniversary edition with powerful new contributions from today's leading voices. This 20th anniversary edition presents a compelling blend of historical insights and contemporary urgency in this critical and unprecedented election year. Get your copy of The Covenant with Black America 20 years later today.
Hey, what are you doing up on the step stool?
About to clean these light fixtures. The whole family's coming over, and if there's even a speck of dust in the house, my Abdullah will find it.
Here, I got a Swiffer duster to help with that.
A Swiffer what?
A Swiffer duster. It has this cool extendable handle that reaches 6 feet to get high and low, with fluffy dusters that easily trap and lock dust.
So, no more step stool?
No more step stool.
Easily trap and lock dust from hard-to-reach places with the Swiffer duster. Love it or your money back.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Diego.
Hi, Diego. It's Jennifer Coolidge. You know, I just want to say your cashback match makes me feel so special. It really inspired me.
That's great. Doubling the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year is what we do.
Well, I'm doubling everything now. Double dating, double dipping, double feature, double header, double whammy. You know, basically double or nothing.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick. Soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors. Use as directed. Vapo Stick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. J.D. Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. And now, during our biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number Limited Edition smart bed. Limited time. For J.D. Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
Eggs are a staple in our diets, and there's only one egg with more delicious farm-fresh taste plus superior nutrition. Eggland's Best. With more vitamins, including 6 times more vitamin D and 10 times more vitamin E, plus 25% less saturated fat than ordinary eggs. Available in so many delicious varieties. Classic, cage-free, and organic. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
With Dominique DiPrima and Dr. Melina Abdulla, Black Lives Matter LA, BLM Grassroots, and of course Cal State LA. And I should have mentioned running for vice president. You got too many jobs. She is on the West Abdullah ticket. She's the Abdullah on the West Abdullah ticket, obviously. So let's talk about Mitrice Richardson. I was stumbling there because I know she's a Virgo, and she was a Virgo, and her birthday is also this month. But today is the day that she came up missing, and is actually, I count it as her angel-versary because she was never seen alive again.
That's right. We remember Mitrice Richardson, who was this beautiful young Black woman who was having dinner in Malibu and was taken into custody, was arrested by the LA County Sheriff's Department, and apparently, allegedly released out into the night in Malibu, and body discovered almost a year later. So we remember Mitrice Richardson, but we also don't let LA County Sheriff's Department off the hook. They are responsible for her murder. They are responsible for her death and the theft of her life. And, today we say her name, and we also send love to her family, who's been searching for answers for all of these years in the theft of their child's life. Her father has been really, really adamant. Her entire family has been adamant, but her father's been one who's been really on the front lines seeking answers for his daughter. And we're also appreciative of Sister Jasmine Canick, who brought Mitrice's case to light when it first happened and continues to do so now.
Yeah, but one of the things I find remarkable with Mitrice Richardson is that people in LA have not forgotten. Like this is a case that people haven't forgotten. And I just remember, I never will forget Sheriff Lee Baca, of course, before he went to jail, saying at a press conference, we will probably never know what happened to this young woman, like basically hours after they had found her. But they're still digging up babies from 1842 and figuring out what happened to them. That was very suspect to me.
Right. Well, the whole thing is suspect. And there's, all kinds of theories about what could have happened to her and, who these sheriffs were who stole this young woman who, and then released her out into the night, allegedly released her out into the night and then don't know what happened to her. There's all kinds of theories about what could have happened and what the role of those deputies are. We know, again, Black independent journalism is so important because as Jasmine was one who brought the case to light and has really lifted Mitrice's name in Black consciousness, we also know Cerise Castle, who's another Black woman independent journalist, has exposed LA County Sheriff's Department for who they are and how they are organized crime, how they are full of sheriff's deputy gangs that commit all kinds of crimes themselves, including murder, including rape, including abductions that implicate them if we really dig into Mitrice's death. And not just negligence, but there's other things, other ways that the sheriff's deputies may have been involved in her death.
Yeah, and just as a reminder for people that either don't know or don't remember, the sheriffs promised Mitrice Richardson's mom they would not release her until the morning. She was having some kind of mental health episode, and they arrested her for not paying a restaurant bill, even though her grandma was on the phone willing to pay the bill. And then they said it was for some weed that she had or whatever the reason. But they did supposedly release her at midnight with no cell phone, no car keys, just in the middle of the night out in Malibu, if that's in fact what happened. And she was never seen alive again, was found in a ravine. So I just, great to remember her on this, her angel-versary. We are, as you know, a few minutes away from news, traffic, and sports. But we've got Big Phil on the phone. He's got a question or comment or conversation for you. Good morning, Big Phil.
Good morning. The devil don't sleep. And you know what? I'm going to tell you something about you guys. You and your friend there, Abdullah, you guys are fighters. Let me tell you something. You guys are warriors. You're not big in stature. You got a big heart. You don't cut no corners. But a lot of politician ladies, I'm not going to say no name, they're not going to fight like you guys. We need more guys like you guys. And on that, I have a problem with Mitrice Richardson case with Kwame Harris. I mean, I'm going to vote for her, but I have a problem with that case that went down, to be honest with you.
Because you feel that when she was Attorney General, she should have taken it up, even though, that happened sometime before, but a lot of people were pushing for her to do a state probe of that case. Yeah.
Like I say, your dad was a fighter. Let me tell you something. He probably don't take no mess. Your dad, he didn't believe in turning the other cheek. I want to tell you that. You hit your dad, he's gonna hit you back. Okay?
Well, you know what? Dr. Abdullah's parents are also fighters, so maybe that's part of the.
That's right.
Maybe that's part of the formula.
Well, we need more guys like you guys. I'm going to take care of yourself. Abdullah, take care. Good luck with the case. Big Phil, I'm out.
Thank you, Big Phil.
Thank you. And he did bring up a really important fact that Kamala Harris did make promises to the family of Mitrice Richardson that she did not follow through on. And we need people to fight, not only when you talk about fighting criminals, remembering that when we talk about law enforcement, supposed law enforcement, that often when the criminals are cops, they get let off the hook, and we have to have people who are willing to prosecute, who are willing to hold accountable police who kill and abuse our people. And today we lift up Mitrice Richardson and still call for justice in her name.
Absolutely. Dr. Melina Abdulla, a couple minutes here, and when we come forward, well, just a minute, I guess. After News, Traffic, and Sports, I want to talk about what you found and saw and heard at the DNC. But right here, talk to me about why court support is important and why people should consider showing up for Albert Ramon Dorsey today through Thursday downtown.
Sure. So again, it's at the downtown federal courthouse. That's 350 West 1st Street. Courtroom 8D, and it's at each day, today, Wednesday, Thursday, from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can come in a morning or afternoon shift or all day if you want. It's really important because his family is hearing details of his murder. They're going to be watching videos of their brother, of their son, of their loved one be killed. We need to stand with them, to sit with them, to hold them when they cry, and to also demonstrate to the judge that the community cares about him. This is not just an isolated family. This is a Black man who's held by not only his blood family, but a community who cares about and loves Black people. So please, if you can get there, Black people, allies, anyone who's there to support, please come and demand accountability in the name of Albert Ramon Dorsey. Again, that's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 350 West 1st Street, courtroom 8D.
Yeah, definitely makes a difference when folks know that the community is watching and our eyes are on them. So I guess I misstated. Apparently, I forgot that Kamala Harris did reopen that case, but under pressure, but then found no wrongdoing by the law enforcement authorities, and her family did not feel that that was, I guess, a thorough or complete investigation. Clearly not, because we still don't know officially what happened to Mitrice Richardson. News, Traffic, and Sports, then more on KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to here with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
Thank you for joining us on this Tuesday, everyone. I'm Mike Moore. Now here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs says he's looking forward to clearing his name in court. The African-American artist was taken into federal custody Monday in New York City. Charges against him remain sealed for now, but that's expected to change later today. Time is running out if you want to vote in this year's election and aren't registered. Today is National Voter Registration Day, a big push to expand the voter rolls. A 3-judge federal appeals court panel will determine the fate of TikTok in the United States. A law was passed earlier this year that would ban TikTok in the U.S. if the social media app didn't cut ties with China-based parent company ByteDance by January 19th. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
Is this the time? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
More bad injury news for the Rams. Wide receiver Cooper Kupp will be out multiple weeks with a sprained left ankle. The Rams are debating whether to place Kupp on injury reserve, which would sideline him for at least 4 games. Rams wide receiver Puka Nacua is already on IR with a knee injury. After week 2 in the NFL, the 6 black head coaches in the league are a combined 9-3. That's an impressive 75% winning percentage. Pittsburgh's Mike Tomlin Tampa Bay's Todd Bowles and Houston's D'Amico Ryan are 2-0. Atlanta's Raheem Morris got his first win of the season last night when the Falcons went into Philadelphia and stunned the Eagles 22-21. The Dodgers shut out Atlanta 9-0 to get a split of their 4-game series. Dodgers manager Dave Roberts used 5 pitches to secure the shutout. The Dodgers lead San Diego by 3.5 in the NL West. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
October 2nd is California Clean Air Day. Go Metro for free and help cut down on pollution and traffic. It's our way of thanking you because every ride makes a difference. Let's clear the air together. Ready to go right now? Head to metro.net.
This is 60.
And that chill in the air means one thing. It's truck season!
Just 5 more minutes.
No snoozing. You've got so much to do. So do it all in a Chevy Colorado or Silverado, including the HD or class-leading 440-mile range of the Silverado EV.
Wait, what? Are you talking to me?
Yes! Picture it. Work, play, hauling gear, off-roading. A Chevy truck can take whatever you can throw at it, including tailgating in an actual tailgate!
I mean, homecoming is just around the corner. Oh, and showing up in a new truck?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Get things done and look good doing it.
Okay, I'm up. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Without offering me a ride? That's cold.
Head to your local Chevy dealer and get 1.9% financing on all 2024 Silverado 1500 and Colorado pickups when you finance with GM Financial. Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
1.9% APR for 36 months. Monthly payment is $28.60 for every $1,000 you finance. Example down payment 24.5%. Must finance with GM Financial. Some customers may not qualify. Not available at least in some of the offers. Taking retail delivery by 9/30/24.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that we keep us safe. Pro Football Hall of Famer and urban peace pioneer Jim Brown believed in just that. So he founded the Amera I Can Foundation for Social Change in 1988, focusing on at-risk and high-risk youth in underserved schools and juvenile detention facilities, as well as adult incarceration and reentry initiatives. The core of the Amera I Can program is its 15-chapter life skills curriculum. Mastery of these skills allows individuals to meet their academic potential, conform their behavior to acceptable societal standards, and improve the quality of their lives by equipping them with what they need to confidently and successfully contribute to society. Today, the foundation is led by its president, Monique Brown, who has been actively involved in the organization for more than 25 years. The Amera I Can Foundation continues its work in memory of its founder, actor, philanthropist, and NFL legend Jim Brown. To get involved or make a donation, please visit AmeriICanCommunity.partners. That's AmeriICanCommunity.partners. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, what are you doing up on the step stool?
About to clean these light fixtures. The whole family's coming over, and if there's even a speck of dust in the house, my Abdullah will find it.
Here, I got a Swiffer duster to help with that.
A Swiffer what?
A Swiffer duster. It has this cool extendable handle that reaches 6 feet to get high and low, with fluffy dusters that easily trap and lock dust.
So, no more step stool?
No more step stool.
Easily trap and lock dust from hard-to-reach places with the Swiffer duster. Love it or your money back.
I joined the military for my kid and his mom. I miss my son a lot. One of the things with the military is tobacco, but I saw a lot of people try to deal with mental issues. Everyone's vaping constantly. After my first hit of a vape, I was hooked like that. Once I got back home from my deployment, I caught my son trying to hit my vape. That was it. I had to quit.
Isaiah started vaping to try to deal with stress and quit because of his son. Learn how he and other Californians are rising above big tobacco at undo.org.
Oh, I can't believe tax season is here already. Look at all this info I have to enter.
Phil's small accounting firm is growing in numbers.
Why didn't I take that typing class in high school?
A data entry specialist could really help him in a crunch.
I got blisters on my fingers!
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed, you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Find a righteous rage and don't be afraid to say what you see. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, a few things we didn't plan to talk about that I'm going to squeeze in. But first, let's talk the congressional. I said DNC, but I should have said CBC. The Congressional Black Caucus is where you were past few days. I know part of it had to do with connecting with Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley and working on ending qualified immunity. What else happened? What else are your takeaways from that experience?
So let me just say that there are a few elected officials. I know in Los Angeles and California in particular, we've been having to hold our elected officials accountable for not representing community. But there are a few elected officials who do really beautiful and principled work on behalf of community, and not just their supposed constituents, but all of us. And so I can't say enough about Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley, who's carrying now 2 bills that Black Lives Matter Grassroots is endorsing. First, our Ending Qualified Immunity Act, which will hold police accountable, more accountable, not less accountable, when they commit harms against our people. And also now we have another bill called the Freedom to Read Act, which essentially bans book bans. And people know that all across the country, conservatives are running for school board, they're getting elected to school boards, and they are banning books. They're banning authors like Kimberly Crenshaw. They're banning authors like Robin Kelly. They're banning even fiction authors like Octavia Butler, who we're reading in my class right now. And so we have initiated through Ayanna Pressley this Freedom to Read Act, which would ban book bans and leave the decision about what to assign up to educators. Leave it up to parents rather than allowing, these politicians to determine that they don't want their children to hear the real history of Ruby Bridges. One of the things that was said on a panel that we co-hosted was that if Ruby Bridges, at 6 years old, had to endure the horrors of violent racism, then children should be able to read about the horrors that she had to endure and draw inspiration from her, not shove that under the rug and pretend like the history of this country, which is founded on the stolen land of indigenous people and built by the stolen labor and lives of Black people, not pretend that that didn't happen and that's not the foundation of this country. So we got to do that at the Congressional Black Caucus, co-host a panel. We got to have a mass movement party. People know CBC, everybody talks about it being a big party. Well, we had a party with a purpose called the Mass Movement Party, where Ayanna Pressley took no corporate sponsorships, right? Most of the parties are sponsored by Coca-Cola and Walmart and all of these other corporate interests. Ayanna Pressley took only sponsorship from Black Lives Matter, Movement for Black Lives, Color of Change, and Working Families Party, as well as SEIU. April Barrett, the first Black president of SEIU, was also there. So we did some really powerful work, including tabling in the exhibit hall to let the thousands of Black folks who were there know about what was happening with the theft of Black Lives Matter and know to follow BLM Grassroots. And we actually won about 5,000 new Instagram followers during the time that we were there. So we want everybody to follow BLM Grassroots. And then I think for me, the highlight of the time that we were there was it's really, really difficult. And Dominique, we were trying to figure out how to finagle getting tickets to the Phoenix Awards, which is the highfalutinist awards dinner or event of the Congressional Black Caucus Week. And we were able to get just one ticket. And we got wind. I was supposed to go. And then we got wind that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden were going to be speaking at the dinner. And so we decided that Baba Akili, who's our elder organizer, he's our national field coordinator, would be the best person to go. He has the loudest voice. He's also one who's been on the front lines of the struggle for a free Palestine, as we all have, but Baba Akili especially faithfully wears a keffiyeh and lifts up the relationship, the long relationship between the Palestinian struggle and the Black freedom struggle. And so he went and he stood among thousands of dressed up Black folks. And when Joe Biden took the podium, Baba Akili stood alone courageously and chanted Free Palestine for about 2 minutes before security came in and removed him. And so for me, it was just the highlight and really clearly defined who we are, that even when we have to stand alone to call for righteousness, to call for right, to call for the end of a genocide, that we are willing to do that. And Baba Akili is an example, a shining example of what we should be as fighters for justice.
An eventful CBC, to say the least. And I know I actually spoke to Akili on yesterday, and I think he'll be joining us Thursday to talk a little bit more about that. But he was removed, but he's unharmed, so that's good. I guess, it's confusing for some folks, the engagement in the political arena, but I'm glad you guys were there, because I feel like part of what has to happen with Black Lives Matter Grassroots is that people, not just the press and the regular Black folks, but lawmakers need to understand what is going on with Black Lives Matter Grassroots, the 39 chapters, the movement itself, because I can't tell you how many lawmakers I've heard, and even at the DNC interviewed, and they'll talk about, Black Lives Matter in past tense, as if the movement and the organization no longer exists.
That's right. And we also have some lawmakers who are dealing with, or who have dealt with, the thieves, right? And we have to remember that the people who hijacked BLK Lives Matter they stole $100 million, and that was in 2020. According to their reporting, they're still bringing in about $20 million a year. They have all the money in the world. And so they're able to buy favor, to curry favor, to vacation with these folks on Martha's Vineyard. I kid you not, that's what they have posted on their social media, is about being at Martha's Vineyard. And they're there with these highfalutin people. And so we have to make sure that we're in spaces where they can see the righteous work. Our Black Lives Matter Richmond, Virginia chapter drove up, and they were with us at the mass movement party. But the day before, they were commemorating the 4-year anniversary of their toppling of that Robert E. Lee statue. And, they need to know, lawmakers need to know that this is who we are. Lawmakers need to know that we are the ones who are doing the on-the-ground work. Our Black Lives Matter Grassroots Mississippi chapter is the one who exposed the Goon Squad and the shallow graves of hundreds of Black people buried behind the sheriff's department in Mississippi, right? And so it's really, really important that we're in spaces where we get to say this is the kind of legislation that we need, and this is who we are. To both, Black folks on the ground who are doing work on the ground and who feel tied to justice work, as well as lawmakers who are supposed to represent us.
Dr. Melina Abdulla is my guest. You're welcome to hop in if you got something to say. 800-920-1580. We will continue the conversation. Not Octavia Spencer, Butler, doggone it. But, give us a call if you want. 800-920-1580. 800-920-1580. We are unapologetically progressive, KBLA. Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Tips to help improve basic steps for building a budget in 2024. Building a budget can help you achieve and reach your financial goals. With a budget, you can keep track of your spending, avoid and get out of debt, limit overspending, pay bills on time, and build solid savings habits. What's the best way to get started? Figure out how much to set aside for expenses, like rent, mortgage, bills, groceries, and entertainment. Understanding your past financial habits can help you make the proper adjustments for your budget. Adjusting to a budget can take time as you work to find the right balance, but keep working on it. For more financial health tips, visit chase.com or stop by a local branch. This segment is sponsored by J.P. Morgan Chase & Company.
I joined the military for my kid and his mom. I miss my son a lot. One of the things with the military is tobacco, but I saw a lot of people try to deal with mental issues. Everyone's vaping constantly. After my first hit of a vape, I was hooked like that. Once I got back home from my deployment, I caught my son trying to hit my vape. That was it. I had to quit.
Isaiah started vaping to try to deal with stress and quit because of his son. Learn how he and other Californians are rising above big tobacco at undo.org.
Hi, this is Councilman Kern Price, inviting you to be part of our city's legendary musical history at the 29th Annual Central Avenue Jazz Festival on September the 21st from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. For decades, the Central Avenue Jazz Festival has honored this historic corridor's unparalleled contribution to jazz. Enjoy a day filled with jazz, blues, and Latin jazz across 3 stages, featuring performances by Chief Ajua, the John Beasley Big Band, and Las Chicas. Indulge in a variety of delicious foods from barbecue to Asian fusion, and explore from a unique mix of vendors and more. The festival is free to attend, and it takes place on Central Avenue between King Boulevard and Vernon Avenue. Parking is limited, so Metro and rideshare are recommended. For more information, visit centralavejazzfest.com. That's centralavejazzfest.com. See you on the 21st.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA reminds you that when we fight, we win, and we don't black down. LA Community Action Network, or LA CAN, was formed in 1999 when 25 residents of downtown LA came together and acknowledged the problems that existed in their community and made a commitment to do something about those problems, to stand together, organize, and become a force in the community that demands change. Civil rights and preventing the criminalization of poverty are their core projects. In addition, they take on women's rights, the human right to housing, and healthy food access. LA CAN also has projects focused on economic development, civic participation, voter engagement, and community media. While downtown LA remains their home base, with a particular emphasis on the Skid Row community, in 2007, they expanded their housing and healthy food access work into South Central Los Angeles. LA CAN believes that power for low-income people and people of color is achieved through a large, active, and well-informed member base that utilizes a multitude of methods to advance their messages and goals. If you'd like to join the Los Angeles Community Action Network and organize people to fight back against oppression, please visit cangress.org. That's cangress.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
We're not for everybody, but we're for everybody. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
Okay, I know it's not what you came on here to talk about, Dr. Abdullah, but you are a bit quiet as it's kept of a hip-hop expert and enthusiast. And breaking news right now that Diddy has been charged with racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking. It's a federal indictment. And a lot of what's in the indictment apparently mirrors what Cassie had put in her lawsuit that was settled, quickly settled. It's I was reading some of it, and one of the things that stood out to me is that the feds are using in their indictment, words and terms and things that come from Cassie and come from Diddy. For example, they say law enforcement seized various freak-off supplies, including narcotics and more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. You just never want to hear that in a federal indictment. I mean, what do you make of this, and what do you, it's kind of a weird intersection of hip-hop, law enforcement, and, Me Too.
Well, I believe victims, and at the same time, I also want us to remember that accusations by law enforcement are sometimes manipulated in particular ways. So I don't have very much information myself, other than I did see the Cassie video, right?
Yeah.
And I have heard what she says happened, and I believe her. And I also don't know very much about the case or the evidence that they have, and think that we should be slow to delight in the criminalization of Black folks, and we should wait to hear what else is happening. So I don't have very much to say. I don't want to say too much because I don't know enough, and I also am very rare. It's very rare that I say somebody should go to prison or jail, especially as an abolitionist. But I do want the victims to have some sense of justice. And I don't know if criminalizing him or placing him in prison is what the victims that might be out there want. I mean,
in a broader sense, Dr. Abdullah, I'm sure you've wrestled with this a lot as a womanist, a Black womanist, that we love hip hop, we're supporters of hip hop, and yet there's definitely a strain of misogyny and even violence against women that is part of the culture, or parts of the culture. And I've had people call me out over the years for supporting hip hop because of that, but I still support it nonetheless. And for me, it's because when we talk about misogyny and anti-Blackness and sort of violence against women, it's disingenuous to place that only on hip hop. That is part of American culture. It is part of American pop culture. It's in the movies. It's on television. So it's something, for me, I feel like we have to attack it wherever it is. It doesn't mean I'm going to reject my own culture because it also exists there. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, of course. It's I didn't even think about it as an assault on hip hop necessarily, because when you look at rock music videos or you think about white rock stars, some of the worst misogyny I've ever seen has existed in those spaces. And so it is a really complicated conversation to have. Then there's this whole thing of, we're both from the West Coast. We're not big fans of Bad Boy.
Right. We're not really following that whole thing. Right. And we're not even going to get into the conversation about the allegations of, toward Diddy regarding Tupac and, all of the other stuff that swirls around that in the hip hop atmosphere, and especially in the West Coast hip hop atmosphere that I know you're well aware of.
Right. Well, the one thing I will say, and I'm with you, I'm a hip hop a lover of hip hop. Common talks about I used to love her, I still love her. Right. I'm a lover of hip hop. One of the things I love most about hip hop is, even though there's misogyny and sexism in hip hop in its truest sense gives space for us to talk about it. Even if you go back to the Roxanne battles, there was space to talk about it, right? And I think that's one of the reasons why, even though we often feel oppressed, and it's not that we're not angry when there's videos of women having beer poured on them at clubs, and Snoop Dogg, before he became, this beloved household name, was walking black women on leashes at award shows, right? There's also space to push back. And so tying it back to CBC, there was an MC Light on stage, right? There's always been an MC Light and a Queen Latifah and a Roxanne Shante, and spaces for us to also have our own voices in hip hop in its truest form.
Yeah, and it was Tupac who pulled my critique of him off the radio himself and put it on his song. So,
that's right.
I think that's
right.
illustrates your point. Before you get out the door, a quick word on reparations. I know BLMLA and Black Lives Matter has been working grassroots on reparations long before it blew up in California. Do you have a call to action or an update on what's happening here? Senator Steve Bradford will be on this show tomorrow in the third hour, by the way.
Right. We got to be with him at Congressional Black Caucus as well. We're continuing to advocate for real reparations that comes with a check. We have a reparations committee out of Black Lives Matter Grassroots and Black Lives Matter Los Angeles, and Sister Jan is leading that work along with Brother Billions from Africatown Coalition. Of course, we're in solidarity with Friday Jones and a lot of this reparations movement, and the way that it's gained traction have brought together so many organizations and organizers that didn't used to work together, but now we are. And we're, of course, holding the elected officials who are supposed to be representing our interests, not their own ambitions, holding them accountable. So please tap in on our social media at BLM Grassroots and BLM Los Angeles on Instagram, BLMLA on X.
Dr. Melina Abdulla, remind us how to follow you, where we might find out a little something about the campaign or anything else you might be doing.
Sure. Folks can follow me on all social media at Doc Melly-Mel. That's DOCMELLYMEL. And meet me at the downtown federal courthouse right now. Court starts at 8:30 a.m., 350 West 1st Street, courtroom 8D.
And you could also come at 1, right? If you can't make it right now, this is shift 2 after
That's
lunch.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Today, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Dr. Melina Abdulla, it's always great to talk with you. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you for having me, sis.
Recap, reprise, encore of my interview with Tito Jackson. May he rest in peace. That's next. After news, traffic, and sports on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
Thank you for joining us on this Tuesday, everyone. I'm Mike Moore. Now here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Hip-hop